What's up, YouTube? This is Wall Echo. I'm Parker, and sorry I look like really bad. I just woke up, and so I look like crap. But I can't do much about it. I guess it's just the way I look. Um, but we are here once again for the Raw rundown here, where I do go through Raw. This week was January 29th of 2018, and we give the parts that I liked an up, and the parts I didn't like a down. So we start off Raw this week. We have Asuka come out, who just won the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. Stephanie McMahon comes out as well, congratulates her, and is talking about that she obviously has the um, opportunity to pick which champion she goes for. It could be either Charlotte Flair or Alexa Bliss. But Stephanie uh, tells her to not pick quite yet because it's very possible that Alexa Bliss may not be the champion at WrestleMania because then she announces the first ever women's elimination chamber match. Um, I went back and forth on this of whether to give it an up or just not give it anything because I definitely wasn't going to give it a down because it's not a bad thing. Like I don't dislike it. Like I'm glad that they're getting like I'm glad for a couple reasons. For one thing, like the women, like they're good. Like obviously the women's wrestling in WWE has been a little stale on the main roster for a little while since, for most all of 2017, definitely since WrestleMania, and like the Superstar Shakeup and stuff. It's been stale, and a lot of multi women stuff and all that, um, and so while I do really like that they're getting the match, it is kind of I wish that there was a reason for the match. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why they're doing this is simply because they want to do a women's elimination chamber match. That's the reason why they're making the match. That it's not that there's been a storyline that's been building and it needs to culminate in an elimination chamber match, which you could do. I think that's what happened in 2016 with Sasha Banks and Charlotte, with the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, because their rivalry that they had for so long had evolved to the point where they needed it, and that was what was great about that match. Um, but the it just seems like now they're just doing stuff because they want to have women's versions because the women. I mean, like they deserve it. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I just wish that there was a little more um, of a reason for it. But I kind of have that problem with the match stipulations nowadays, anyways, because I don't like that they're like pay per viewed, to where like we can only have Hell in a Cell at Hell in a Cell in like October every year, and the same with like TLC in November and stuff, and Elimination Chamber in February, things like that. I do hate that that's the way things are nowadays. But like because I wish maybe they would, instead of announcing like this is the time every year when we do Hell in a Cell, they wait and it's like, we've got this really great rivalry. Let's do Hell in a Cell next, and because this rivalry really deserves a Hell in a Cell stipulation. Because like if you're just, you know, you have to be like it's like luck of the draw. You have to be lucky and like you just happen to have a good rivalry around Hell in a Cell time. We'll put you in Hell in a Cell. But if you have a great rivalry that could really do well to have Hell in a Cell stipulation, but you're having this rivalry in May, you're out of luck. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing I hate about these pay-per-views, that have like their own designated time slots the same time every year. Although since they do know the time every year, they could work to try and have the rivalries during those times of the year be ones that really need those stipulations, but that's another thing. And then after that, Sasha Banks comes out and says that um, she should have won, yada yada yada, and she wants to face Asuka. So Stephanie McMahon makes the match for later on in the night, Sasha Banks versus Asuka. So this whole opening segment, I did decide to give it up because it was good. It is good that they're getting the Elimination Chamber match, and the thought of Banks versus Asuka, it excited me because I think that if they're, well, I've been a bit um, touch and go, I guess, with Asuka since coming to the main roster. I haven't, like, there's some stuff I've liked, sometimes I've really done like, but I thought that if there was a person that could really bring out a really great match out of Asuka, it'd be Sasha, and I was correct, as we'll get to later. Um, I'm hoping that this is the last first ever women's thing, because I can't think of anything else that they haven't done yet. I mean, um, I can't remember anything. So hopefully that's the last of the first evers, because it kind of gets old and kind of loses the specialness of it if you just keep having first evers. You know what I mean? Anyways, the first match we have of the night is it's been announced by Kurt Angle that there is also going to be a men's elimination chamber match, and the men that are going to be in the match, they are going through qualifier matches to determine who it is. And so we had 3 qualifier matches on this Raw to show half of our participants for the match. But the difference between this match and the women's match, what I find very interesting, is that in the women's match, Alexa Bliss is going to be in the match defending her title, while in the men's match, Brock Lesnar is not in the match defending his title. This match is to set up the number 1 contender for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, which I just think is really funny because it just kind of shows how, like, more important they see the Universal title than the women's title. Because in the same match stipulation, the women's title is up for grabs, but the men are going for number 1 contendership. It's when it's funny to me because they keep on about their striving for uh, equality for the women, and like showing that women are just as good as the guys and they can do just as good and all this stuff, and they can, a lot of them can, and I think it's great that they're having these matches, but I just think it's funny that you're devaluing the women's championship by making it where they are going for the title, but in the same match stipulation, the men are going for the chance, the possibility to face the champion. I just think it's funny. But anyways, the first of those 3 qualifier matches was Braun Strowman versus Kane in a last man standing match. This was very short, but it was very, I think, final. It had a sense of finality to it. I believe that this probably was Kane's, maybe his, even you might would call it a retirement match. It possibly could have been. It wasn't. There wasn't a lot in the match of them talking about the match, making it seem like it would be a retirement match. But Braun Strowman did win by tipping the, not just the announcer's table, but the entire like platform onto Kane, which was cool visually. Though I did think about it, and I was like, I don't even think anything actually hit Kane. I think because like there's a covering over the platform, and there's a empty space underneath it. So I think when it fell, like the cover went over him, but none of the stuff actually did, which was good because you don't want to kill the guy because he's running for mayor. But after he uh, got buried by this stuff, it was a little weird. The ref called for the bell instead of going for the 10 count. I guess they wanted to have him immediately checked on him, make sure that he didn't get hurt because it was probably a risky spot. But that was a little weird though that they went again, like because it's supposed to be the 10 count. Like obviously, I think that they figured that he probably wasn't gonna get up out of that stuff for before the 10 count. But you still should go by the rule of the match. But um, the match is getting up. It was good. It was a good, I think, ending to the rivalry. Strowman obviously looked really strong and it was really great. And Strowman obviously deserves to be in the Elimination Chamber match to go for the title. It was weird though that afterwards they said that Kane was taken to a hospital, but he escaped and no one's seen anything from him or heard anything from him since, which is was what gave me the inclination that this probably he's probably done. This is probably the end, and then he's gone back to hell or something. I don't know. Next, we had our second qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber for the men. It was Elias versus Woken Matt Hardy. I'm not sure why Elias was put in this matchup. I don't know. I've enjoyed Elias very much since he's came to Raw. I really have. I've really enjoyed him, but I don't know that I would say he's ready to be in this kind of program, this kind of match, going for the Universal title. I really think he's more where he's at right now. It is really more in the Intercontinental title picture, is what I would say. So obviously, I don't think there's any chance of him winning the Elimination Chamber match, but I just think it's a little weird. He, as of right now, of who is in the match that we see so far, he's definitely the odd one. And the match was okay. Wasn't anything special. We had this match, a while ago, which kind of set up the whole Matt becoming Woken. And the Matt was distracted by Bray Wyatt on the Titantron, and he was hit by Elias' finisher for the win. Matt Hardy is not in the Elimination Chamber match. Elias is, and it's getting a down. I'm sorry. The match was just okay, and the ending I didn't enjoy. I don't understand the reason why is I don't understand why Bray Wyatt is still caring about Woken Matt Hardy, because we've had him lose to, like, Bray has actually beaten Matt on every occasion that they've went in the ring together. So if you've already beaten somebody, why do you care to keep going after them and keep messing things up for them? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Like if I've beaten somebody twice in the ring, I don't care about his qualifying match. Like for this thing, I don't care because it was revealed that Bray Wyatt the next week on Raw is going to be in a qualifying match as well. So instead of, like, I wouldn't want to mess up the opportunity for him because I know I can beat him. So if I know that I'm possibly going to be in the same match stipulation as this guy, I want him to win because I've already beaten him twice. I already know how to beat him, and that makes it easier for me to win the match in the future. But of course, I guess Bray Wyatt doesn't think that way. I'm not sure, but it's getting down for me. I just didn't enjoy it, and the 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 rivalry has just really not been good. And I saw this coming. I said when it first started, I was optimistic that it could be really good, but I did figure that they would probably screw it up, and I think they have. Next up, we have The Miz versus Roman Reigns for the Intercontinental Championship. It's Roman's contractual rematch, and the match was good. It was good. It was solid. I would say not as good as the match that they had at Raw 25, where Miz won the title. But it was good. You had Miz go to take off the turnbuckle pad again like he did last time, and the Miz Taraj got involved a lot, which is why Miz was able to win. Just a good match, and it's getting it up. It's nothing super special. We had to get this out of the way, obviously. But I'm glad that Miz stayed champion, and I'm really excited to see them put him in a program with someone else other than people in the Shield, because that's been going on way too long. Next up, we had the Revival versus Heath Slater and Rhino, and this was good. The Revival won, which is exactly what was needed. They really need to keep rebuilding the Revival. They did that, at Royal Rumble with their victory over Gallows and Anderson. They need to keep doing that because they really did do them an injustice at Raw 25 with DX. But keep building up, and I think they could possibly be the next ones to go for the tag titles. Possibly even allowing the Bar to become face again. Hopefully, I would really like that. Um, so the match is getting up. Not anything super special in the match, but it was good, and they actually won with the Shatter Machine. Unlike on Royal Rumble, they did Shatter Machine Rhino, which was good, and it does keep the storyline with Heath and Rhino of Rhino trying to make Heath tougher. It keeps it going on. It's entertaining, so that gets an up. Next up, we have Asuka versus Sasha Banks. And I have to say, this is probably I won't even say probably. For me, this is the best women's main roster match that we have had since 2016, in my opinion. The women's wrestling, I was really enjoying it in 2016 with the brand split. Sasha and Charlotte, their rivalry was so good. The back and forth that they had, I really enjoyed the storytelling there. But after that, and when it became Bayley versus Charlotte, and then everything, it just started to fall for me. And like I said earlier, once it came to the Superstar Shakeup after WrestleMania and all the multi-woman matches, it's really gone downhill in my opinion. But this match was amazing. It was definitely the best women's match of the last year and in a month. For sure, it was so good. By far, I think Asuka's best match she's ever done. One of Sasha's best matches. It was so amazing. There was a one spot where Sasha went for a suicide dive, and Asuka kicked her as she was going through, and Asuka just went, and it looked brutal. The camera angle was really really good in that spot because it probably didn't actually connect. But with the angle of everything, it looked so legit and it looked really good. And Sasha sold like a boss. Get it, boss. But it was fantastic, everything. And I really thought that there was the possibility that Sasha might actually beat Asuka for the first time. That didn't happen. Asuka did end up winning by making Banks tap out to the Asuka lock. But man, it was such a good match. Such a good match. And I think the best match, maybe second best, maybe either at least second best match of the card. And it's obviously getting it up. Next, we had one of the dumbest matches on the card with the Bar defending their Raw Tag Team Championships 24 hours after they have just won it against Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. This is stupid. Just because Titus and Apollo had gotten fluke roll up victories twice in a row, they suddenly were deserving of a title shot? No, down, stupid. Thank God Sheamus and Cesaro actually won, but the match was not good. Anything involving Titus O'Neil was not going to be good. Apollo was okay, but Titus sucks so bad. It just wasn't good, and it made no sense to give them a title shot after the fluky wins they had the last couple weeks. That was just such a stupid decision, in my opinion. Um, and I hope that's the last we see of them in the title picture, and we move on because that just sucked so bad. It's down, down, down. Not three downs. I'm just repeating myself uh, for my own sake. Next up, we had the main event, which was the final qualifying match of the night, and it was John Cena versus Finn Balor. Um, the match between the two of these, it was set up because of the Royal Rumble the night before, because Cena had actually eliminated Balor, and so that was kind of that little bit there. And the match was really, really good. It was kind of reminiscent of Cena versus AJ. Not as good, because obviously there hasn't been the storytelling and everything that they had, but it was kind of reminiscent of it, and it was really really good, and I was so hoping they could redeem Finn and let him go over Cena, because if they would have let him go over Cena, I think that would have been, I think that could have done it. I think that this will go back and hit in time later on, and we will say that this is the moment that could have been Finn. Like Finn could have been made in this moment, but he wasn't. Now he put on a darn good match for sure. Really, really great. Really, really great showing in the night before as the Iron Man. Really awesome couple of days for him. But if they could have just let him get the win, like, I'm not saying he has to win the Elimination Chamber match afterwards and face Brock at Mania. We all know that's not happening. We all know who's going to be in that. But could we not have get like Cena does not need any more victories ever in life. If John Cena never wins another match ever again until he retires, that's fine. It doesn't damage John Cena. John Cena has been built up to where we know, like, we get it. He's really good, but this was not needed. And I get that they want to go with the whole, oh, will John Cena be able to overcome and go for to beat the the record of that Ric Flair and he have. If you want that and you just have to have him in the match, like, fine, then put him in the match. But why'd you have to have Balor lose so Cena could be in the match? Have Cena face Elias in this moment, and have Finn face Woken Matt instead, and that way you can get the possibility of the Demon King versus Woken Matt Hardy feud that could happen. That would be kind of cool. And then Matt loses to Bray, because of Bray, which allows Finn to win. Obviously, it's not as good because it's kind of fluky, but Finn gets in there, and then you already have a lot of history between Elias and Cena already, even though Cena's beaten him on every occasion. So I guess that kind of people would have probably seen no chance in Elias winning, but who cares? It's John Cena. And like I said, I don't think Elias really fits at this spot in the card right now. That's what I would have done. But the match between them was so great. It was really, really good. And I am glad that it took a lot for Cena to put Balor away. It took a Super AA thing, Avalanche AA, whatever you want to call it, for him to win. And it looked good. So the match is getting up, but I've got to give a down to the fact that they're just doing Finn like this. Like, first ever Universal Champion, never got his rematch. Like, he's over. Like, that's the thing is Vince is like, sometimes Vince is really good, but sometimes, like in this case, Vince is so stupid. Like, Finn is not over as over as he could be because you've booked him to not be. You had him be jobbed out to a 50-year-old. That's so stupid. Like, you've had him get jobbed so bad, and then you like breathed a little bit of fresh air into him with the Balor Club, but Gallows and Anderson were nowhere to be seen. That's that's a mistake, and I don't know. Hopefully they can fix this. But when it comes to Finn Balor, 2016 and his huge shot to the top, he was like one of my favorites, maybe even my favorite wrestler at the time. But after coming back after Mania, it's just been so disappointing. But anyways, so when it comes to the score, ups do win. It was a good episode of Raw. The downs that I gave were, like the downs, they weren't as bad as like other downs that I've given in the past. So a pretty good episode of Raw, all things considered. Um, and I'm excited for Elimination Chamber. I'm excited that we are now on the road to WrestleMania. So I'm really I'm excited to see what Raw's gonna have in store. But if you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button for us. We'd really, really appreciate it. Comment what you thought of Raw this week. And also subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. But with all that, I'm going to get on out of here. I've been Parker from Wawa Echo, and we will see you very, very soon. Peace.